Hello, welcome to our garden. Today's 6th of April and the weather has turned bloody horrible again. Don't know if you can see in the background, I think you probably can. It's not a blue sky out there and there's some horrible looking storm clouds are coming, so windows are all done up and I'm not really going to be able to get out and do an awful lot, so I thought let's do a little bit of a greenhouse tour. I was flicking through some of our videos and there's some stuff which has surprised me on how quick it's grown in the last just 2 weeks. Oh, very windy. My cat, bless his heart, is coming into the greenhouse because he's too cold outside. So I'll give you a little tour, and there's a little bit that I need to do in some of the plug trays and pot them up into larger pots so they can start really pushing for growth, like some sunflowers and things that I've got. So let's have a little butchers at what we got, shall we? Right then. Well, they're my spare brassicas, which I'm going to need a couple of, so they're going to go into bigger pots, a couple of them today. Cucumbers, they're all absolutely fine at the minute, I don't need them to hurry. Basil, still much the same until I get that outside, it's not going to do an awful lot. The Romanesca kale, which is all doing quite well. These are 2 of my spare melon mulberries, which are now in their own individual pots, and as you can see, putting on quite a lot of growth. More so than the ones that are in the main pots, but I think that's just sunlight. Got some sunflowers, Lucy's bean, which I still do not know what type of bean this is. Got some spinach at the back. There's another big pot of kale there. But the beef tomatoes that seem to have just stopped growing. I keep checking the root network, which is not coming out. So I don't really understand what's happening to them, but they're not doing so well at the moment. A courgette, which just, I don't know what on earth that thing did. Cucamelon, some rhubarb. These are the giant sunflowers, which as soon as we're past with all these storms, they're going straight out because they're doing very well. Nasturtium. The frost, unfortunately, appears to have killed my gardener's delight. The little, oh, you can see on the picture just here. I love these tomatoes. Me and the wife just munch through them every year, but they're all gone. More nasturtiums. The corn has been doing fantastically, like really, really well. I've gone in and prodded out, pricked out what I can, and then snipped the second plants in these. These are the Halloween pumpkins, which I was very surprised to see. Not on that one. On this one, there you go. You can see, focus. The root network has already started to come out of these pots. So as soon as the last frost dates come, these are going to be going straight out into the small beds so they can grow along the path. There were covers on these, I've just taken them off for the sake of the video, but we've got the California peppers. They're all ready to start potting on. So they're going to be some of the things that I pot on today. We've got some sweet peppers in this row here, which haven't come up yet, but that was the 25th of March these were planted, so don't expect too much from them just yet, whereas these were the 27th of February. Quite a bit longer for them. As I go around, you've got my row of peas. I can no longer nibble them. They are too long. What I had been doing, which is why there's so many big gaps in here, is when they're about this height, they're absolutely delicious. So you can see I've snipped off part of it just here already. But they just taste like beautiful peas. And this one is actually starting to grow quite nicely. So I think I'm just going to see what happens with these as a bit of an experiment. But there is a wee bit of yellowing, so I may need to add more nutrients. We have got behind the peas, the garden strawberries, which are flowering. In here, we've got some red onions, which I've got to put out at some point in the next week or two. The plug carrots, which people say you shouldn't do them like this, so I'm just giving it a go because I had some spare. In the back here, we've got, if you remember, the Elysium that I planted, where I've just sprinkled it on the soil with a small amount of cover. If you look closely on the white, the snow white ones, you'll see that there are actually some shoots coming out already, which is surprising because the packet said 21 days. I've not grown these before. We've got more nasturtiums, none of them are up yet. The Chinese lanterns. These are all salads from my big salad tray, which you can see is doing remarkably well as a salad tray right now. So I may end up just harvesting these in a week or two as mini greens. But these are all going to be planted out in pots and things like that, so they can grow to a proper size and then be harvested properly. Then down here we have got 3 cucumber plants. You see this one has now already started on its string line, so a bit of string just wrap once around the plant, and as it grows up I'll just keep wrapping it around the string, that way it will trail up. Same as this one down here, the string's already wrapped around it once. Focus, there we go. These 2 cucamelons, they're just put here for the sake of being in water. I don't know what's happened this year, but I must have had an explosion of tomato seeds, because that beside the cucamelon is another bloody tomato plant. Salad tray, another pot of peas, another tray of salad there, and then I don't really know what's happening here. Oh, there he fell over. So we've got the melon mulberry, a cucamelon, and the pot over there is the same, and then 4 bits of salad, because I want this to kind of cover the soil to keep the moisture in it. But this one, you can see that the soil on the surface seems to have got a film of, I don't know, it's not mould, but it looks like it. Perhaps a fungus. We do have quite a few mushroom spores about, so perhaps that's what this is. But yeah, everything seems to be doing okay at the moment. You see the melons in here were potted on into here before the other melons were moved out, and the other melons seem to be doing a lot better, so I might have to rethink what I'm doing. Perhaps put like a lemonade bottle, I've got one here actually, something like this, give it some extra insulation, help encourage its growth while we're still on a bit of cold. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Right, bear with me. So I think what I'll do today is, oh yeah, that's the point. I'll put the solar panel up. It's not going to hit me in the head. The light still will, but the solar panel won't. So, you know, it's something. I love this greenhouse, but I mean, I can't properly stand up. I have to crouch a little bit. So I think what I'll do today is I'm going to get some of these peppers potted up. I'll show you how I do a couple, and then I'll just whiz through and get them all done and dusted. So I'll get set up and I'll see you in a moment. Right then, so got the California peppers. Now, I don't actually need too many of these plants, and I'm currently oohing and ahhing. This is all just Jack's magic. It's gone a little bit dry, but that'll be absolutely fine. I'll break that up and put it with moisture. But we've got 2 different types. You've got obviously the normal type of pot, only wee ones, plenty of drainage holes at the bottom, plastic. I think these were actually all from shop bought flowers that we've just been really careful with to reuse, because, well, there's no point wasting them. Then we've got another type that we found in B&Q the other day. Now, these are Fibre Pots. I'll take one out. You see they're basically just cardboard, and what you're supposed to do with these is plant them up as you normally would, but then instead of then taking it out of here to go in the ground, this whole thing goes in the ground, and this just breaks down after the course of, I think it said 2 months. We're on offer for 50p, so I thought I'd give it a go. So I think I'm going to try a couple of these peppers in these Fibre Pots, and then I've got a tub which I'll show you in a minute, which I'll be putting these peppers in. So if I do 2 for this camera, and then I'll pot them all up and I'll bring you back after that. So I've got my loose soil, filling it up like so. Nice hole in the bottom. There we go. And then using my Poundland dibber. I love my Poundland dibber. So actually this is probably a little bit moist in here anyway, but you can see the roots, they're all coming through. Problem is they're getting too tall for the tub now. Actually, I might need to ditch a bit of the soil out of that. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to do them this way. So try and do it so you'll be able to see for the camera. You want to keep the plug with the soil itself that it was in. It's better for the plant. Mainly because then you're disturbing the roots a lot less. And then what we want to do is, you obviously saw that the growth was around about here. This was all above the soil. I want to thicken the stems up. So what I do then is quite simply add more compost. and the plant itself will then harden up its base because it will know that it's underneath the soil, just like so, and you'll have a stronger plant for it. You can do this with the vast majority of plants. There's some that you can't, but all the stuff that I do is what I tend to do with it, same as like the brassicas and things like that. Do another one. A little bit of soil in the bottom to make sure it's covered. Any hard bits like this I don't like to have with seedlings, purely because then it can affect the root network. So let's take this one. This looks like a nice strong one. Should be a good plug. Oh, nope, it was not. Oh, this must have been on an incline because that was a lot drier. Pop her in. Again, you can see that's where she was at with the soil. And I'm going to take the soil right up to the top here. Make the plant stronger in that way. And just pat the soil down nice and gently at first until you know it's got plenty to support it. I find this ever so relaxing. Sitting in my greenhouse, potted up some seedlings, knowing in the months to come I'll be able to reap what I sow. There we go, you can see that's how she is. Right, I'll carry on with the rest and I will see you when I'm done. Right, so there we go, so they're all now potted up. And then, again, marvellous watering system. All I'm going to do is give them a good old drink now. Now, because this compost is a bit dry, you can see it sits on the soil for a minute before it starts to get soaked in. If you find this, best thing to do is just to give it a bit of a drink at first. By the time you get round to the last plant, it should hopefully have started to hydrate the soil. And at that point, give it another good old go. There we go. I can give it a good hydrate. Now the reason why I'm doing it like this in this tub is because we're still not out of the coldest weather yet, and I can fit another new top onto this, so it will basically just be a larger propagator for it. I'll get one of the tops out. See, so that can just sit on top like this. Doesn't quite fit, but it's good enough to be able to lock in a little bit of extra heat for it. Gives it a little bit more strength to keep going. The other thing I forgot to show you a moment ago is something I'm very proud of. If I take the camera, sorry for the shaking, and try and focus on them. You might not be able to see that, but this is a tray of catnip. We have 2 cats in our house and they absolutely adore this stuff. So I thought I'd grow it myself this year because it's a ludicrous price. So that's basically it for you today. I'm going to carry on potting around in here. I've got those sunflowers I showed you, they need to be in their tubs. I'm going to put them in the plastic tubs though because they need much more room for their roots. And they'll be transplanted out and I can carry on using those tubs anyway. So that'll be fine. And there's a few other bits and pieces I want to do, but because of the wind, and I know that's going to be affecting the audio, I'll call it a day. Thank you ever so much for joining us in our garden today. I hope you all have a lovely day. And like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you.